Welcome back to the CSS podcast. I am your host, Dave Wolfers, along with Charlie Crawley and Sam Wolfers there on the right. We are live this evening coming to you from YouTube and also Facebook. I believe we are streaming live now as well. So, if you like what you're seeing, like what you're hearing, go ahead and just click that like and subscribe button, thumbs up there. You can let everybody know when we are on. It's usually Sunday evenings around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then coming to you with all the latest news of the week from the Cincy Sports Scene. So, but before we do that, gentlemen, how was your week?
Guys, pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good summer week, and
it was busy for us. We had nephew got married, so we had a wedding, and Chris's cousins came in town, and we had a good time with them. I haven't seen them in a while, so we enjoyed their company there, and we're getting ready to go out on vacation here for the next week and a half. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff to do between now and then. So
North Carolina time.
Yes, family reunion there, and then
I'll pick you up on the side of the road somewhere.
Pick me up on the side of the road somewhere, and we'll do some sampling of whatever they have down there. So out as Sam, he'll be right back. But let's go ahead and dive right into the week that was. We're going to start with the Bengals in their training camp. I think the big news coming out of the training camp, BJ Hill did dye his hair blonde and shaved it. So him and Burrow are now twins. So
that's the biggest news of the week. Huh?
That's the biggest news of the week, according to Twitter. So I guess that's all we have to talk about. No, but you weren't here last week, Crawley. So we talked just about a couple of position battles that we were interested in. I just want to hear your take. What are you looking forward to for this training camp of the Bengals? And I know Zach Taylor did come out and said that Burrow and the first unit will play some in the preseason this year. So that's got to make you happy too.
Yeah, I'm definitely a proponent of that. Not a lot, but in terms of them playing, but definitely I want to see the offensive line out there getting reps. We're incorporating somebody. I don't even know who it's going to be at this point, since Trent Brown's already having some injury issues like he's had his whole freaking career. So it's going to be him, it's going to be Mims, it's going to be whoever. So I'm definitely looking forward to the offensive line getting some real reps. And I think everybody should, at least a little bit, even if it's just a couple of series, just to, get a, live game action. So in terms of position battles, this isn't really a battle, I guess, even though I actually wish it would be a battle. And that's, it's more of a person, Miles Murphy. I want to see him step up this year. I wish it would be a battle, because I would like to see him start taking,
Hubbard,
yeah, like rep, like I think the Bengals are going to be successful if Miles Murphy is taking a lot of Hubbard's reps by the end of the season.
Yeah, they did. They did say that Hubbard left on a cart today, but no one.
I don't want to be
injured
for this. I don't want to be injured for this.
No, I don't.
If Miles Murphy's truly number one pick, he's at this point should be better than Sam Hubbard.
Should be.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So So I want to see that over the course of the year. So that's one. I mean, I'm sure you guys talked about the cornerback thing. I mean, the cornerback position probably right now is the biggest up in the air situation on the team. When you got Dax Hill moving, I guess, unless he's a complete bust there, is going to be more of a corner than a safety this year. So, who is your second corner, your third corner, your fourth corner. I mean, other than Cam Taylor-Britt, I think everybody's kind of thrown right now into a pot and or stirring and seeing who's going to come out. So that one's a big one, safety wise. But I mean, I think that's a little more settled with the veterans and things. So it's really for me the defensive side. I mean, I know we love to talk offense, and that's what everything is about in today's football world in terms of just public content for the most part. But for me, it's the defense. I mean, I'm much more confident that if Joe Burrow is healthy, that the offense will be fine. And I'm much less confident in the defense. And if they play like they did last year, then we're going to be struggling again to make the playoffs. We can't be that bad. We got to at least be middle of the pack. So, which we were, the Super Bowl year and the year after. So we got to get back to at least that.
Yep. So
for me, this first half for the preseason time and getting these first few weeks it's about the defense to me. And we're playing bad offenses at the beginning of the year. So if we're struggling against those teams, that's not a good sign.
Correct. Let's just hope that they can, get some reps under their belt. Everybody stays healthy, because I think that's the number one concern, especially with preseason games. And then, move into week one, shake the rust off, win that game, and then travel to Kansas City. That's the big one.
When's the last time we won the first game of the year?
Was it Chase's? Yeah, they beat the Vikings. Yeah, Chase's first year.
The Super Bowl year?
Yep.
So 2 years in a row we lost, just those two.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, well, it's good that, Zach Taylor is willing to try new things. Get players.
Maybe the new OC said, "Hey, I want to do this." And he's
well, maybe that's part of it, because he needs to get some game calls in, right? With that as well. So, any other news and notes from the Bengals camp this week? I know it was short, but
I mean, the Jamar Chase thing. I mean, that was what I heard about it. Every time I listened to anybody, it was just about whether he's whether it's part of a plan or whether this is his protest right now about his contract. So.
Yeah, and ESPN didn't help the cause either when they're saying that he only makes $1 million, which is partly true. That's his base salary, but he gets he gets $3.8 million as a roster bonus, and then he's going to be making close to $5 million. Granted, that's nothing compared to what he should be making, what he will be making, but
that's the rookie scale for contracts.
Right.
If he signed an extension, he'd still be making that number regardless. So it doesn't change anything for this year.
Right, but he could get the big signing bonus. Right. So
yes, but that wouldn't kick in.
I don't think that kicks in this year though. Still.
Well, I think if he signed I think the bonus kicks in, but I don't think the contract would kick in until next year. The actual
the years and stuff.
Yes. Yeah, the actual money.
I thought the signing bonus was tied with that, so he wouldn't get that until next year.
No, I think that's why they. I don't know. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah, because I was say I don't think Joe Burrow signed his contract in the last summer or whatever, and his big old signing bonus didn't start kicking in last year. They were not ahead of no issues under the cap last year. It was this year.
The signing bonuses count towards the cap though?
Well, I mean, shouldn't it?
I don't
think so. I don't think so. That's why everybody wants the big signing bonus right away. So
I don't think so, because I think the bonus isn't technically only the guaranteed money counts towards the cap, or is it the other way around maybe? I think it's only the guaranteed money counts towards the cap, right?
The guaranteed
money. For the base salary.
But what people are caring about is the guaranteed money. That's what they want.
Right.
Joe Burrow didn't. His is all those guys is about that. They're about the guaranteed money, not about the signing bonus. He could care less about a $4 million signing bonus. He wants $150 million guaranteed. I mean, that's what it's all about. That does count against the cap. That's
right. That counts.
That's what I'm talking about. Joe Burrow's last year, when he signed that contract, it did not affect the salary cap, his guaranteed money, because it didn't kick in until this year.
Correct.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. And that's why I'm saying
Jamar Chase issue.
Yeah, and that's what I'm. I guess, but Burrow got the signing bonus then when he signed that contract, so that's why. If Chase does that, he probably would get the signing bonus as well. But yeah, I mean that's.
It's null and void now because at this point the Bengals are not signing him. Mike Brown already said it. What he says is what's going to happen. So when it comes to that, I mean, they wouldn't do it if Jamar Chase said, "I'm sitting out this year unless you do it." He'd be like, "Okay, well, enjoy Florida."
Mm-hmm. On that $1 million, won't go far in Florida. Right?
Well, I don't know. They could fine him.
Well, yeah,
they could fine him for every day he's out.
Yep, that is true.
He wouldn't even get $1 million.
No, nope. But that's not going to happen. Don't breathe that into existence, there, Crawley. Come on out.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just saying. Again, it's.
Well, Adam Schefter wants it to happen.
Yeah, and Ryan Clark and everybody else. Of course, Ryan Clark does because Steeler.
Right. Yeah.
But
Well, all the information guys are going to want it to happen because they don't get any information from the Bengals.
I know.
They actually have to do their job because they can't talk to anybody in the Bengals, so makes it harder for them to do their job. So of course they're not going to have any faithful statements towards them.
Well, but it also is hot takes. I mean, it's what they live.
That's what they live for. Yes.
Well, that's it.
That's the most important thing.
Breaking news.
Right.
All right. Speaking of, we're going to move on. Hot takes and breaking news.
The Reds are not good. Oh, that's not a hot take. Never mind.
It's not breaking news either.
That is not breaking news either. The Reds are as consistently inconsistent as any team that has ever played. Lost 3 to the Nationals, who then traded a couple players away. Lost or swept the Braves, even though it was a shortened series, but they swept the Braves. And then they go in, take the first game on a Stu Fairchild double in the 10th. And after that, they did not have an extra base hit the rest of
they barely had a hit, period.
Yeah, they barely had a hit. Yes, right. But
against a team who basically gave up.
The
Braves have thrown the towel in.
Series,
I mean, they're selling everybody.
Yeah,
and they'll still have a better. And they're still gonna have a better record than the Reds.
Mm-hmm. So, I've heard. I was listening to a couple of other podcasts out there, and they're talking. It's time to get rid of David Bell. Heard of,
not gonna happen.
But
we don't need that topic. We don't need to talk about it.
But this is what they said. It's like, not fire David Bell, just get rid of him as a manager, move him up to assistant GM or assistant player, director of player personnel, Bob Castellini's gopher boy or whatever, but just get him.
That's Phil.
Yeah, well,
that position's already taken.
Yeah, it is. But just move him into the front office where he would probably be really good at. But as far as the day-to-day managerial stuff, today's game is a perfect example. Why Lucas Sims? The guy has a 5. What is it? His walk to strikeout ratio, or his walk ratio per 9 is 5 batters. Why bring him in when you have Sam Moll in there who's under 2, or Alexis Diaz? In that situation.
Well, Diaz, they're completely kid gloves with him. They will not let him pitch outside of a save situation anymore.
Right.
Or if he hasn't, pitched in 7 days because they've lost every game. So that's it. So he's out of the question because of that, which is garbage too. Again, if he's that good, if Alexis Diaz is that good, you put him in whatever situation you need him in. So that goes to the manager as well. I don't know about the Sam Maul thing. I guess I'm assuming it was a left-hander that was up or something. That was the next guy. So you can't pitch, or it was a right-hander.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a right-hander. So there's no way David Bell will put Maul in there, even though he's probably pitches better than Sims against both sides of the plate. So
Exactly.
they only use analytics when it makes them look a certain way.
Right. Because, they want that excuse of like, oh, well, the analytics said, this was going to be a favorable outcome. It just didn't break our way. They want that built-in excuse. If he's not willing to take the risk of putting a lefty in to face a righty and then having it backfire.
But I think he's also not. I think it's somewhat, we might hurt Lucas Sims' feelings because he didn't get, we didn't put him in the game when he probably should go in. I mean, that's totally how the Reds operate off that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you're right.
It's freaking professional like major league professional baseball. It's not high school. So,
yep.
Well, especially Lucas Sims isn't even going to be here next year. So who cares?
I hope he's not here in 2 days. So let alone next year.
Well, they haven't decided if they're buyers or sellers yet. So.
They can't be. They can't be like true buyers. No way.
No, they can't. You're right. They can't.
It's over. I mean, they're 5 games under with 6 teams in front of them before they get to.
They need to be both, right? I mean, they need to sell so that they can go and get a right-handed outfield bat. And
if they're willing to do that, sure, but they're going to have to give up prospects for that.
Right.
You could give every single on the current Reds team, like the guys that they're willing to, tradable guys, the relievers. You could put every one of those in a package, all 8 of them, and you still aren't getting a high level power hitting outfielder.
Right.
You're going to have to include the high ceiling guys, which is the prospects. That's who they will trade.
Yeah,
that's who teams will trade for.
Well, the rookie.
They don't want Lucas Sims. They don't want Fernando Cruz. I mean, not for like a high quality player.
Well, like Oakland. I mean, Oakland doesn't. I mean, they care less about winning than we do here in Cincinnati. So they're not looking for. They would take a Chase Petty, right? He's 4 years away, probably. And that's probably about the timeline that they're going to be moving into Vegas. So, you get those people, you throw in Buck Farmer and him.
Well, he's only expiring. They wouldn't take him.
Yeah. But you might, so
you would need Chase Petty and like Sal Stewart or something. It's going to have to be loaded with prospects.
I don't think it's
they don't want any major league players.
Well,
they're not going to take back unless it's like Rhys Hines, who's got a handful of games, but they're not taking anybody that doesn't have 6 years left to control because they hope that, they're good in 3 and then they can sell high on them.
Right.
So they don't want to take somebody whose service time has really started yet.
Yeah. Why do we not have a Rosarena? I mean, they basically gave him away. I mean, the prospect group, I couldn't believe how
it was their 12th.
I couldn't believe how bad the return was for him. Is he that horrible or something? Like, I thought he was a good player.
He would fit right in this year.
The Rays are usually pretty good about their trades. I was very surprised about how poor that trade was.
Like one of those prospects, they must have thought he's better than his ranking. Because the Rays are really good at identifying guys.
Right. That's how they survive, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and speaking of Rhys Hines, he got sent down, which, you saw that coming just because of.
I don't agree with it, though.
Oh, I don't either, but you saw it coming because of options and, people are coming off and you have to make room.
I don't know what Austin Slater's doing for you right now.
Right.
Why they don't just DFA him and be done with it?
And
they kept Rhys Hines.
There's your Rhys Hines spot. Yeah, but no, instead that's
what I didn't get.
30-year-old who's done nothing. Let's give him some time instead of Rhys Hines, who, up and down. He great 1 week, player of the week, and then he looked like a triple A the next week. But I don't know. I'd rather see him take 100 more at bats the rest of the year.
I don't think that would have been the case. Unfortunately, because he would have platooned them. He would have just saw left-handed hitters or left-handed pitchers, and that's not what he needs. He needs every day. and David Bell is not the only reason he played every day that week was twofold. One, he got hot, and two, everybody else was injured. I mean, Stu was injured. That's why they went out and got Austin Slater, because they didn't have a backup center fielder.
Well, I was so excited.
Right. But now they do, and I mean, Slater's gotten 3 at bats this whole week. He's really not even playing. So again, what is the purpose for him? He's not the backup out center fielder anymore. He gets 3 at bats. Even Bell's not even playing him. So what's the point?
The veteran leadership, because we need veteran leadership.
Right? Yeah.
All right. So the Atlanta game, Atlanta Sierras, Tampa Bay. Any trade deadline news?
I
haven't heard
India chatter. A lot of India chatter.
Yeah, I have too. Which I don't know.
Either wrong move.
I don't know if the Yankees.
No, there were. I'm doing this on my phone, so I can't really look. But I saw something. There was another team today, not the Yankees.
Excuse me. But he would fit right in the Yankees lineup, leadoff hitter, because that's what they're missing, and a second baseman.
Well, that's what Jazz Chisholm's going to be now.
What Jazz is going to be.
Yeah, exactly. So, so that's off the table. Maybe Miami needs a second baseman now, huh? but I mean,
one of the 2 teams worse than the Reds.
Right. They're not going to take.
Yeah, I don't.
Dodgers. I don't know if the Dodgers would, because I know their infield is banged up a little bit.
I don't see the Reds doing much.
Mariners.
Either.
The Mariners is the team that I saw.
Well, they're trying to get their hitting is worse than the Reds.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get everybody out, but they've already traded for a couple guys. So, I would predict they're not going to do much either way, buy or sell. Maybe they'll make a few fringe things.
I think if they lose Monday night against the Cubs, I think
it should already be decided.
Right. Well, but I think what let's take a look at
3 days.
Well, let's take a look at selling, right? Like selling, even though we're not really selling, but we're just
they should be
dumping.
Right. They're all floating contracts that they aren't going to renew. They're expiring or they're
Frankie Montas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's he going to bring back? A low-level prospect.
A low-level
bag of
prospect.
bogs,
Correct.
Bag of seeds. Martinez might bring mid-level, but he's got that high contract, so probably not. Who else is on the Pagan's injured, so no.
Pagan's injured. Lucas Sims has got to be on there.
Yeah, but Lucas Sims,
Farmer's got to be on there. I mean, they're not going to bring back anything, but
I mean, if we can get
at this point, I'd rather see some dude I've never heard of pitch AAA pitch. Like I don't need to see any. I've watched Lucas Sims for 6 years. I don't need to see him pitch for the Reds again.
No,
I just don't. So I don't care. I don't care if Ricky Carter gets called back up. I'd rather watch him pitch.
You could bring up Blandino throwing the knuckler.
Yeah, I'd rather have that happen. I'd rather some gimmick come out of the bullpen than watch Lucas Sims throw his little shot put slider up there.
Here's an interesting.
After he walked the first guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. After he walks the first guy he faces.
Yeah. Here's an interesting tidbit. The Reds coming out of the All-Star break have been swept 5 out of the 6 years that David Bell has been the manager. Like that first series coming out, they have been swept 5 out of 6. How? Yeah, I mean, how in the world does that happen?
It's because we're in Cincinnati. It's part of it is on us as fans, is that we don't put enough pressure on the team. You've got, I'd say, 60% of the fan base who I'm seeing all over the place just saying, "Oh, let's stick with the plan. Crawl's got a plan." Like I'm 28 years old and they have never won a playoff series. How much longer do I have to wait for this so-called plan? Like this stuff doesn't fly in Philadelphia. It doesn't fly in New York. You know where it does fly? It flies in Pittsburgh, flies in Oakland, and look at those 2 franchises. So which one do you want to be? Do you want to be, those teams, or do you actually want to compete?
I'd be Pittsburgh right now with Paul Skeens. I mean,
we've got Ellie De La Cruz. Like,
yeah. Yeah, but Ellie has to be able to hit Paul Skeens, right? So, because nobody else is going to hit Paul Skeens on the Reds.
No, he's not. But he's only pitched in 32 games. So what? You got 20 wins right there. Like, I mean, that's great for Pittsburgh, but
yeah,
you can only affect him every so.
Yes, I know, but
I'm just talking about the mediocrity. That's just
yes, it's acceptable, right?
Yeah,
it's acceptable.
People still in this city think that the Bengals are the misrun franchise. It's not even close. It's not even close. Who's the better run franchise at this point? And
we'll see. We'll see with
honestly,
Chase's
it's been that
contract.
way for a long time. It's been that way for a long time now. The Reds have been the worst run franchise in the city. And, I mean, it's
you concur?
I mean, I wouldn't put either one of them in the top half of run franchises. So, but I would agree. Yes, if I had to play Bengals versus the Reds right now, yes, I would agree. The Bengals are being better run. And why are they being a big reason why they're being better run is they have Mike Brown sitting on the back patio sipping a bourbon and looking at the lake, where Bob Castellini was too involved and telling Krall what to do and not letting him do what he needs to do. So,
and then you have Phil right there. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go?
Hopefully, they're just patting him on the head and putting him on a tricycle and letting him run around in a circle.
Red Blaze.
Go get our
circus music playing or whatever. Right. So yes, so I would agree with Sam on just the basic. Who's a better run franchise right now? It is the Bengals.
No, well, I agree. I mean, but yeah.
So I don't know what. I don't. I think this year is a wash at this point, and.
Yeah, we got to see
to accept it, and you do what you can for next year. And
isn't that sad that last year at this time, when we weren't making any moves, everybody was like, "Well, just be patient for 2024."
Oh, well, remember it was all about Green.
Calling it a wash.
Yeah. Well, remember Green and Lodolo were our trade. Were as good as a trade last year, so we had that nonsense that we had to listen to.
To all those Red fans that were happy that we sat out the trade deadline last year, like, this is your fault. So it's your fault.
All right.
On that
note, speaking of faults,
2025.
2025, here we come. We've been doing a little segment of 2025, right? We talked about the starting rotation.
Are you getting ready to move on to demoted and that stuff?
Not yet. No, we're going to talk about 2025 here in a second.
Oh, okay.
Because I said we talked about starting rotation and we talked about the infield. So now let's look at the outfield. Who's going to be there in 2025?
Probably everybody, because we don't get rid of it. We don't move people to make ourselves better. So we'll probably run it back just like it is now. Now, again, I said this before the season. Fraley and Benson are the same player. Why do we need both of those players? Neither one can hit against left-handers. Okay, they're average at best outfielders. Benson strikes out way, way more than Fraley. Fraley's a better contact hitter or whatever, but Benson has more power and speed than Fraley. So you don't need both of them, though. Pick one of them, move the other one on. Okay, that to me is what they should do. Now, will they? No, because they're both cheap still. So they're going to keep both of them.
I think Fraley goes into arbitration this year, though. So he'll get a little more.
He ain't going to make that much more money, though.
No, he won't make that much, but.
So, so what you got Friedel, I like Steer and left, but they keep using him at first. And every time they use him at first, that means Fraley and Benson both are in the lineup. And that hasn't worked. But that's what they've been doing. I'd rather, if you go into next year with Steer, Friedel, and I would wish a totally different player, like a much better outfielder as your third outfielder. Do I think that's going to happen? No. But and I'm not talking about moving India to the outfield. Like, that's, again, ridiculous. Let's move Tyler Stevens in the outfield. Again, it's just dumb. Why do we even talk about these things? No other franchises talks about moving a guy who's not even a good infielder and make them an outfielder. Like, what the heck is going on here? So, now, talk about Ellie moving in the outfield. Great. I'd be all for that, because I think he could be maybe the best outfielder in the world if they would train him correctly. You can't do it during the season, but off season.
Right.
But if it's not Ellie, then I want a different outfielder. I want a new guy. that we don't have on the
Bonafide
current roster.
right-handed power
Correct.
bat. That's what we need.
And you keep Fraley or Benson, one of them, to be the backup for where the fourth outfielder. Then you have Stewie or whatever.
And you got Stewie.
Or Reese Hines, or whatever.
Or Austin Slater.
That's how I would
not
wish
Austin Slater. No.
Austin Slater's going to win the starting job. He's going to have like a 500 spring training, and there's one of those. What do we like to call it? The special invitation on a minor league deal.
Yeah, the minor league deal with an invitation
to the big league camp. That's Austin Slater again, right there.
Yep, and then he'll hit 330. Make the team.
Start opening day center field, and
So yeah, that's my take. So you guys can have your take, but that's my take.
I agree. I think Steer should be the left fielder, and I really don't care for Friedel, but I think it'd be unfair to judge him off of this year just because of his injuries and stuff. So I'd be okay if they kept him. And then right field, I think you need somebody that's going to hit you 40 home runs. I honestly don't care about their defense in right field at Great American. That doesn't concern me at all. I want somebody who can just hit 40 home runs in this ballpark. Like, please. I don't know who that's going to be. I don't know if you're going to have to trade for that guy. I don't know who that free agent outfielders are expected to be this offseason, but
I think you're going to need to trade for him.
I want somebody that has legitimate power that you can put in the 4-ball. No more batting TJ Friedel fourth. For crying out loud.
The best bunter on the team.
Yeah.
And fourth, hey.
Even though he never bunts anymore, but he was.
Zadak said that on the broadcast. He's a great bunter. And then I look and he's hitting fourth. And I'm like, that's exactly what I would love the announcers to say about my 4-hole.
Hey, element of surprise right there, baby. No one's expecting your 4-hole hitter to bunt. David Bell was trying to be coy and slide him in there. Maybe they weren't paying attention because they were feeling sad that they traded one of their better players away right before the game. So, all right, let's. I agree with everything you guys said. We need to go out and get a right-handed, power-hitting George Foster type trade.
And honestly, if that's Reese Hines, it's Reese Hines. But I think to determine that, he needs to play the rest of the year, and that's what I'm afraid of is, we sit on our hands and saying, "Yep, we've got Reese Hines coming up. He's going to be ready next year," or we have. Now, what's Aquino doing these days?
Please.
We've got people like that. It was like, and it's just like last year. Well, we've got, these Hunter Green and Lodolo coming back. Well, now we've got Matt McClain coming back. We've got Marte coming back. We have,
coming back.
All this stuff. And it's like, no, go out and you've got draft capital, go out, or not draft capital, but you got prospect capital, go out and get it. Go out and get something that we needed last year that we talked about moving forward to 2024. The one hole was a right-handed power bat in the outfield.
It's somebody that can protect Ellie in the lineup.
Right.
I love Steer, and he's a good hitter, but pitchers aren't scared of him batting after Ellie. They're not scared of Candelario batting after Ellie.
Well,
you need somebody to protect Ellie in the lineup.
Speaking of Candy, he may be on the list out of here. I don't think anybody
will trade for him with that contract, though. So
right, I don't think the Reds would have to pick up a lot of it.
Yeah.
They won't do that.
They might. You never know.
That's what makes this year even more disappointing is they actually spent a decent amount of money last offseason.
They did.
Completely on the wrong guys.
Yeah.
Just Pagans. I don't even remember the last time the dude even pitched for us. Martinez, they gave that money and turned him into a relief pitcher. So that's dumb. And then Candelario.
Which is where he should be. He's better as a relief pitcher as that swing guy.
But $15 million as a reliever is.
Yeah, that's insane. Chapman. Best closers in the game don't even make that. And
right.
By the way, the Cubs made a trade with the Rays.
Yes, I saw that.
Happened. Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
So the Cubs, who are in last place, are trying to do something. Isaac Paredes.
Well, no, we're in last place now. The Cubs won today, so we're in last place.
Oh,
So,
Awesome.
Cubs are
Sauce right there.
sending Morel and 2 prospects.
Right. So,
And then the Cubs yesterday acquired a pitcher. I didn't even know that. So,
yeah. I mean,
Okay,
and here's the thing. I mean, what San Diego paid for the reliever from Tampa Bay, I think it was, right? Or was,
What?
I mean, they gave up.
yeah, they got the.
They gave up like 4 prospects, and it's like, and this guy's just a middling. I mean, Buck Farmer has better numbers than this guy, and this guy's 32 years old. It's like get Buck out there right now. If we can get 4 guys from him, I mean that would be a heist. But
yeah, but I think Buck doesn't have any more team control.
I don't know if this guy does either.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, he might have, but he's 32, right? I mean, who knows? All right, let's move on to pitcher of the week, hitter of the week, and who should be demoted. Carly, since you weren't here last week, start with the pitcher of the week.
That's an easy one. Hunter Green. He's pitcher of the month, let
Yeah.
alone of the week.
Should be.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter Green's doing what he's right now. If you had to list, well, I guess Ellie would be your argument. I was going to say, if you had to list what the most positive elements of the season, it's either Hunter Green's development or Ellie. So, and then that's probably where the list ends. I don't know what the third one would be. Maybe Lodolo. Probably Lodolo would be your third one. But Hunter Green for sure. I mean, he's been the best pitcher in the majors over the last 4 or 5 starts. I mean, he's got like a 0.6 ERA or something
like
his
that.
last 4 starts. So yeah, and of course he never wins any because the Reds can't hit or the bullpen blows it. Which both of them happened today. So
right.
So for me, Hunter Green, something to look forward to, something to at least put our hat on, something with him moving forward. So
I think that's a sweep. Yep.
All
right, Sam, hitter of the week. It's probably going to be another sweep.
Yeah, Ellie.
It's got to be. I mean,
I think he's the only one that got a hit.
Yeah,
this whole week.
For this race series. Yeah,
he was 3 for 4 today.
With 4 steals today.
4 steals today.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying his best to score. I mean, he really was.
Yep. But
nobody could get him in. But yeah, I mean, Ellie hit 400 this week. He was 8 for 20, home run, triple, 7 steals. I mean, that's ridiculous. So.
And the player who needs to be demoted.
Got a list.
There's a list of them. Yes. I was on the Lucas Sims bandwagon out of town here a couple of weeks ago. He's still high on my list, but Fernando Cruz, baby, he has just did a 180, and he's horrible. He is horrible. So
there was a stat. It had like each team's worst pitcher in high leverage situations.
Right.
And Fernando Cruz was the worst in Major League Baseball. He had like an 11.40 ERA in high leverage situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I that must have all been like somewhat recently, because I mean he was.
Well, he struggled early.
He
struggled early, like the first 2 or 3 outings, and then once he got that splitter working, and people were swinging at it. The problem is he can't throw that first pitch for a strike. He can't throw his fastball for a strike. And then the only way he's throwing that splitter is if he's ahead in the count. So as Jeff Brantley was saying, you've got to throw that fastball for a strike or else come with a slider for a strike.
Yeah, because if you're behind, they're
not
split. They're not. Yeah,
they're not. So I'm saying Fernando Cruz is my person to be demoted.
Well, I'm going to go with somebody different as well. And this person shouldn't be demoted. He's just be released. It's Austin Slater. He's doing nothing for the team. I mean, he's 2 for 18 since he's been with the Reds. So he's barely even playing. So what's the point of keeping him?
Yeah, those are two good picks there. But I'm going with Candelario. He had a $150 this week. He's been terrible since, the whole month. He's just been awful.
Yeah, you can't be that inconsistent to be considered your middle of the order hitter.
Middle of the order and veteran leadership. You can't.
But
can't be.
I'm just looking at some of these stats. India was 1 for 19 this week. Stevenson 2 for 17. Marte was 3 for 15. Friedel was 1 for 9. That's 4 guys in your everyday lineup who are hitting under 200 this week.
Ellie was literally the only one to hit because wasn't Steer like 4 for 20, and it just continues on.
Yeah, it looks like Fraley was 4 for 15, so 260. So that's not awful. Actually, Benson was pretty solid, 4 for 14, so 286. But he struck out 7 times, so he just can't hit the ball.
Nope. Yeah. So, Tuesday trade deadline. We'll see if who's leaving Cincinnati or who's coming to Cincinnati, or if we're staying pat.
I think that's worst case. That's the worst outcome if you're a Reds fan.
Well, that is the worst. Yes, that is the worst outcome, but that's probably the most likely outcome. Unless I would not be shocked if Frankie and Nick leave. Those two they're not going to be on the Reds team next year.
No, just take what you can get for him.
Yeah. Lucas Sims.
Martinez might. He's got
an option.
Yeah, he's got the option, but
if it's a player option, Martinez is picking that up. No one else.
I think it's a mutual. It's a mutual option. I think that's what they did with Montez as well.
I think their contracts are different. I think Montez is a club option. I don't think or a mutual option. I think it's a mutual option.
It's a mutual option.
Which means both sides got to do it. I think Martinez is just a player option.
Is it a player option or is it a?
Because I think his contract was pretty much he's going to be here for 2 years, unless they trade him.
Right. No.
I think they're in different situations
right now. Yeah, he's got a player option.
He's got a player option.
And he's picking that up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's picking that up. Yeah. Yes, he is. He would be silly not to. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our trivia. Sam filled in for Crawley last week with the trivia question. So you want to review that, son?
Yeah, it was Hall of Fame trivia. It was just all the I think there was 8 players and 1 manager that are in the Hall of Fame as Reds. So we named them. I think you got 6 of the 8.
Yep.
I don't have the list in front of me here. Missing 2 old schoolers. So.
Yep, it was Eddie Roush and the pitcher.
Yeah, it was a pitcher.
Paul Derringer, Bucky Waters.
Epi,
whatever. Epirexy.
Yep. Those 2. All right, so I've got the trivia question this week. This is
real quick. Montas is a mutual option for $20 million.
$20 million. He's not.
Yep.
The Reds aren't picking that
up.
Well,
he would pick that up.
Yeah, definitely he would pick that up. But
the Reds will not.
The Reds will not pick that up.
It looks like there's a $2 million buyout. So if they don't pick it up, so
yeah, it was like $14 million this year, and then so in sense $16 million for a year.
Yeah,
with the Reds so you got to try to move him just to get something back. You can't just to get something. So, all right, this is a 3-parter here.
Oh no, man, you're getting worse than me.
I know, but it's not too bad. So the Olympics started here this week, and we're going to talk Olympics in the great state of Ohio and the better city of Cincinnati. So where does Ohio rank in gold medals among the United States? They have 130 or 125 gold medals. Where do they rank?
I'd say, and just kind of think.
They're going to be behind California and Texas.
Yeah.
Probably Florida.
Probably Colorado because of the Winter Olympics. Or are you just talking summer?
Summer Olympics.
Okay.
Sorry, Summer Olympics. Yes.
I could see them being behind like Michigan, Pennsylvania, maybe Illinois.
I was thinking 7.
Here's 7th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said 129. That seems like quite a bit.
125.
125.
Gold medals.
I'll go 5th.
You're both wrong. So it's Charlie's closest, put it that way.
Oh, so we're even better than 5th.
Yes.
So, well, they're definitely not holding California, Texas, and Florida. So 4th then.
No.
They're ahead of one of those states?
They're 3rd. They're behind California. They're behind California and New York.
Texas is not above them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I bet you it's changing. I bet you if you look over the last 20 years of Olympics, Texas and Florida have moved ahead of them.
Yeah. I'm surprised about Florida. Maybe not so much Texas. Texas is very team sport oriented.
Right.
So that kind of, I can kind of see that. Florida, I mean, well, and then you've got to get, is this where they train out of, or is this where they're born?
No, this was where they're from, where they're from, not where they're
born.
Yeah, where they're born, more or less.
I feel like Florida, you get a lot more people moving down there to train.
Yeah, train it in there and stuff. All right. Question number 2. Cincinnati ranks where in the overall nationwide city in the in medals won? They have 56 gold medals. The city of Cincinnati.
56. That seems like a lot too.
That's it. I mean, if Ohio
gold medals of people. These are people born in Cincinnati.
Actually, maybe it's 56 total medals.
Still a high number though for one city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's got to be high. That's got to be a low number.
Top 5 again, you would think. I'll say 5.
I'll go 3rd.
Nope. Both of you are too high. You're over. You're over.
Cincinnati's not really carrying Ohio then, huh?
Nope. Cincinnati is carrying Ohio.
Are they?
Yeah, they have the most in Ohio.
Okay.
56 is okay, so maybe like 8th or something, or
real close.
Okay.
Got to go higher.
7.
Lower then. I mean,
9.
Yeah, 9. There you go. Yes, they ranked 9. All right, so now here's a tough one here.
Well, we just got a medal today, so Cincinnati.
Did they? Yeah, the
kid from Mason.
Yeah,
the Mason swimmer.
Yeah. So we can add that, but yeah. Which Olympian from Cincinnati has won the most medals?
The archery guy?
Pace?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Most medals.
Well, I know. He's got multiple medals.
Yeah, he does. He does, but
it's like what sports get a lot of medals? Swimming always seems to be the one that gets a lot of medals.
Swimming and track seem like you can get a lot of medals. Gymnastics, yeah.
And usually, unless you're like someone in bio, is usually 1.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
or 2 or something. So like Amanda Borden, but I don't think she got more than she got the team medal, but I don't think she got any other ones.
She didn't win any individual golds.
Yeah,
this person has a total of 10 medals.
Dang. Okay.
5 gold, 3 silver, 2 bronze.
So it's got to be a track or a swimmer because it's got to be something that they were able to get multiple medals in one Olympics, and I'm trying to think of a Cincinnati swimmer. I mean, they've had good swimmers, so it's probably a swimmer. Be my guess.
That is correct. It's a swimmer.
Okay.
The years were 96 to 04.
I don't know
Yeah.
I got it down to the right event. So
All right, we'll let you all ponder on that a little bit. We'll come back next week with that answer. If you think you know the answer, go ahead and hop online and go to YouTube, look for Cincy Sports Scene, type it in the comment section there, and give us your answer there. Or you can also find us on Twitter or Instagram at Cincy Sports Scene as well, and then just slide into our DMs and give us the answer there. So, all right, now we're gonna go into our topic of the week, which is our football debate bracket. So we are wrapping up region number 4 right now, and we will be moving forward in the next couple of weeks with it'll be a little bit different how we do the debates moving forward. But for those of you that haven't been listening the last 2 or 3 weeks, each host had a category and they wrote the questions, and then the other 2 hosts have 1 minute to debate, and then since I'm asking the questions, I will have to decide which one moves forward. So without any further ado, are you gentlemen ready?
Yep.
All right. So this one is first one for football: college or pro football? Which is better? Charlie, you got college. Sam, you got pro. Put it 1 minute on the timer. Let me see here. Where is it at? There it is. Timers. 1 minute. Crawley, you get to go first. Are you ready?
yep.
And go.
So college football is all about the traditions and everything that goes on before, after games. It's about the student body. It's about celebrations, the tailgating. I mean, that stuff is big time in college football. You get everybody knows those things. It's a rivalries. There's no NFL rivalry that competes with Ohio State, Michigan, and Alabama and Auburn, and on and on and on. Navy, Army, and all those things. So. And then today's college football, it's a complete unpredictability. I mean, you don't even know who's in what conference anymore. So, it's excitement. It's, USC is playing Ohio State in the freaking Big Ten championship. It's Big 12, again, just expanding, and then they keep throwing more teams in there, and SEC got, you could have Georgia playing Texas and that sort of thing. So it's you can't say it's boring anymore and it's the same teams over and over because you don't even know who's what. They're going to a playoff. There we go.
Time is off. All right, Sam. Pro football. Ready?
Yep. So
Yep.
pro football is better. Let's just start out. Quarterback plays better. The better quarterback play that you have, the more enjoyable the game is to watch. Just the better the game is played. So obviously, better players are obviously going to be pros. Not everybody's going to be a pro that's playing college. Everybody is a pro that's playing in the pros. So just from the talent level standpoint, pros are better. Also, the parity is better in pro football. There is such thing as worst to first. Vandy is not winning the SEC. Rutgers isn't winning the Big Ten anytime soon. They don't have to change conferences to keep your interest so that you don't, Alabama wins every year, Ohio State, Michigan win every year. Keep the same 4 teams in each division, keep the conferences the same, and the parity is going to sort itself out over time. That's why I think pro football is better.
All right. Good arguments, both of you. Yeah. It's a tough one. I love the tradition of college football, but it's sort of losing the tradition just because of the new alignments. Pro football, I like, but it's getting more about getting away from the true sense of pro football. But Sam, you did make some good points about they're all pros in there, and quarterback play is what drives both games now, and I've seen some really bad quarterback play at the college level here recently. So I'm going to have to side with Sam on that one barely. So not by much, though. Not by much. All right. Question number 2. Should the Super Bowl be played earlier in the day, like it was during the 70s and early 80s? So like during the 70s, it was played like at 2 o'clock. In the early 80s, it was like 4 o'clock. Or keep it in the evening? Sam, let me get my timer. You are going first here. Ready? Go.
Yep. So I've got earlier in the day. I think they should move it up. I'm in favor of the 4 o'clock kickoff. So that's about 2.5 hours earlier than they do now. That's just more in line with the regular season and the playoff schedule. You have your 1 o'clock kicks, your 4 o'clock kicks, and then your prime time. No more of this 6:30 junk that takes 5 hours still to complete, even though it starts at 6:30. Let's start it at 4:30. You can have your hour-long halftime show all you want, and we can still get this game over with at a reasonable hour. I think it would just be better for the fans specifically. I don't know that it would really have an effect on the players, although, the routines are built around those 1 o'clock start times and those 4 o'clock start times. So I think it would help with their routines. You might see some better Super Bowls too, because, we have seen some duds recently. So yeah, I think 4:30 start time is the ideal start time for the Super Bowl.
All right. Thank you. And Mr. Crawley, go.
Okay, the bigger question is not the question being asked.
Well, I know that's why.
The bigger question is that should not be on Sunday, period.
Well, that would have won no matter what. So that's why.
I'm going to that. Earlier or later doesn't matter. Saturday is Super Bowl Saturday. Sunday makes absolutely no sense. So it doesn't matter whether it's a null and void question. It's all about what day it should be, which should be Saturday. So if you
wasn't the question,
and then you have it in the evening, so I can argue evening there. It'd be great. People would be out, you'd be out the bars, you'd be out the restaurants, you'd be partying it up. You could be out, you could be in, whatever. Let's start it at 8:30 for all it cares. Who cares? So yeah, I can't argue the evening on a Sunday. I mean, it doesn't mean anything different.
I have to go with Sam on that because Charlie had to take it into his own account and change the question around. But
it's not an important question. So.
Well, it would have been a no-brainer if I would have put Saturday on there. Whoever got that, you would have been complaining if I gave Sam Saturday and you had to argue the early.
I would have just said I agree with Sam. So.
yeah, exactly. So that's why I didn't put that on there. So.
There is no argument for it being on Sunday. None.
Nope.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just the only argument is that it's been on Sundays ever since it started. So,
and they also used to play 14 games. Now they're going to be playing 18 soon. So
used to be in January.
Right.
So there is no argument.
All right. Question number 3. Who is your next head coach? Nick Saban or Bill Belichick? Sam, you're going to go first. I'm sorry. You're going to go second with Saban, and Crawley, you're going to go first with Belichick. So let me get this set up. Whenever you are ready, you may begin.
I'm up.
Yep.
Okay. So as Sam argued earlier, the NFL is much higher parity than, much better parity than college football. And Bill Belichick was able to be successful in the NFL, where the parity is rampant, and every team should be in the playoffs every other year. I mean, he won more Super Bowls in that kind of league. It's set up that way. College football is set up for certain teams that dominate because it's based on recruiting, especially regional recruiting. Saban had a built-in advantage being in Alabama. I'd give him more credit if he was at Vanderbilt and did it, or he was at BYU or something. That's why I think Fickle with UC is so undervalued because he did something that Saban didn't pull off, or nobody else has pulled off. So so it's Belichick because of that setup. You also have Saban completely bombing in the NFL So that's a major mark against him.
Okay, thank you. Sam, Nick Saban, go.
Yeah, Nick Saban, because he's a winner at 2 different schools. He won national title at LSU and multiple at Alabama. Everybody says he bombed in the NFL. I mean, he wasn't great, but he was still a 500 coach, which, I mean, as we saw a couple episodes ago, he'd be like the second best Bengals head coach of all time with that record. He didn't go out in national champions, but he still went out on top. He didn't go out by getting fired, essentially, like Bill Belichick did. He didn't go out with a 3-13 record, and the whole city ended up hating him. He didn't have a falling out with his athletic director / owner because he ran this superstar out of town that basically won him all the championships. I mean, you think about that. You look at the careers afterwards. I think it was more Tom Brady than Bill Belichick. Saban did it with everybody. He did it multiple styles. He did it running, ground and pound, defense first, and then going to more quarterback centric with, the spread offenses and playmakers and stuff too.
You made some very, very valid points, but I think Crawley one-upped you when he used your argument for the last one about the parity and the pros. There's not a ton of cupcakes.
Oh, there wasn't parity in the AFC East, so.
But there was, and with Eli Manning winning 2 of them. So I'm going to go with Crawley on that. On that one. All right, number 4. Question 4. College football super leagues, 2 major conferences, or scrap expansion and go back to the regional conferences like what we are used to. So regional conferences is Sam. Super leagues is Charlie. And I think, Sam, you're up first.
Yep.
All right. So whenever you are ready, begin.
Yeah, we need to go back to the regional conferences. I would cap it at 12 teams a conference. And you can choose to split them if you want. So you have a conference champion or not. You can't really go round robin, but you can just go best conference record. But I'd cap them at 12 teams. We don't need, noted Atlantic Coast Conference school Stanford in the ACC. It just makes no sense. Cal and SMU, it's ridiculous at this point. There's no reason for it. Regional conferences, and then, the end of the season, the bowl game meant something. That's where you got those cross-conference matchups. The Rose Bowl meant something, because it was Big Ten, Pac-10 winners. I think we need to get back to that. It would help restore some of the tradition of college football, some of the pageantry, and I think it would help the game in the long run, honestly, if it stayed regionalized.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Crawley.
I'm going to use Sam's argument from earlier again on this. The NFL, which you said was the best type of football. Well, you have an NFC and an AFC. You have a Super Bowl, and so it's all set up that way, bracket style, tournament style. Well, that's what the super team conference is all about. You're going to have 2 conferences, an SEC based one, a Big Ten one, or however they set it up. And it's really going to be an ESPN one and a Fox one, and have so many schools into it. And it also might help some of those mid-level schools because they're able to get, if say take UC gets into one of those super conferences, then they can tell high schoolers and transfers like, hey, we still got into a super conference. Come to us. We can we can compete with the big guys. I mean, we got into the super conference. The other issue, if you just believe in capitalism, then you got to go with the super conference because this is what the colleges want. This is what the money is dictating. No one, they're not saying, well, we're going to artificially create these regional conferences. So
that's a tough one for me. As like to reminisce about the past and stuff and go on about the Big Ten, Pac-10, SEC and the Sugar Bowl. But I will say that the excitement around the playoff this past year and moving forward It's something to be said, and it's going to go that way anyhow, right? So, I think it's two super conferences, set it up like the NFL, and there you go. Since they're going to be they're paying them anyhow. They're going to be pros, semi-pros, play like the pros. So Crawley, again, with that one. Question number 5, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep. Number 5. Best player to never win a Super Bowl. Crawley, your man, Barry Sanders, Sam, Dan Marino.
Yeah.
All right. Ready? You're up first, Crawley. Go.
Okay, so we'll start with just the numbers. He's 4th in total yards. Barry Sanders 4th in total yards, 7th in yards per carry, playing for. Hit the drums here. The Lions, okay, not today's Lions. The 1 year of we have good Lions, but it's the actual Detroit Lions that we know and love for the last 40 years of how miserable they be. So he was successful from a statistics standpoint. He was also successful. He's kind of an R about him. People think a lot of people would say Barry Sanders is the best running back ever in history. He doesn't have the most yards like Emmitt Smith, but it's just the way he played, just pure running back, be able to just make moves on everybody and get around. Did it in college and in the pros. Nobody really says Dan Marino. No one argues that he's the best quarterback that ever played in the NFL. Great quarterback, Hall of Famer, but not the best. Whereas a lot of people would argue Barry Sanders is the best. It's not just from the yards. They see what he did with the Lions.
All right. Dan Marino, Sam, go.
Yep. So quarterback arguments are different just because in the NFL, the only position that people even care about rings is quarterbacks. So you have to kind of look at it in that light. And Marino gets overlooked just because of the fact he doesn't have one. If he would have one or two, I would say he'd be talked about like he's the second best quarterback of all time behind Tom Brady, just because he was really the first guy to be kind of a modern quarterback in an era where teams weren't really pass heavy. He was the first guy to throw for 5,000 yards. At one point, he was the all-time yards leader, touchdown leader, all that good stuff. He was 20 years ahead of his time. I think if he played today, his numbers would be even better than they were back then. You compare him to the quarterbacks of his era, all his numbers blow them out of the water. But unfortunately, it is a team game, so he does, lose points for that. But yeah, his whole argument is centered around the fact he doesn't have a Super Bowl. So that's what hurt.
That's a good one. Both of you make valid points. Sam, if you would have said, Dan Marino made it to a Super Bowl, Barry Sanders didn't, I probably would have went your way. But I have to go with Crawley with Barry Sanders. He made better points, especially about people think he might be the best running back ever. Marino was the best passer during his time, but they didn't say he was the best quarterback ever, and that was Joe Montana.
Right, because of the Super Bowl.
That's the
only reason why. That's the only position that's like that.
I know. I
just agree with my argument there, but whatever.
All right, next one here. We have number 6. Which will have a greater impact on college football moving forward, the NIL portal or the playoffs? Charlie, you're going to have the NIL portal, and Sam, you're going to have the playoffs. So, Sam, you will
Sam's
go
first, right? Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
Yes, he will. And go.
Yeah, Crawley kind of mentioned it with the Super League question. That's all kind of geared towards the playoff. So we're already headed that way. You can kind of see the effect that it has. It's already expanded to 12 teams. We haven't even had a 12-team playoff yet, and they're already talking about expanding it to 16. So just the idea of the playoff has already changed college football greatly. conferences are shifting around because of that. They're not shifting around because of, NIL and portal stuff. That has nothing to do with the current landscape. It's all geared around college football playoff. These mediocre teams are trying to get into these big super conferences so they can stay mediocre and still make the playoff. They don't, these super conferences aren't really going to have any effect on the NIL. Honestly, the idea of making the playoffs is going to boost the NIL dollars that come in. And so the NIL is essentially going to be piggybacking off of the playoff moving forward. This thing's only growing because of the playoff.
All right. Thank you. And Crawley, go.
So the NIL and the portal influence every school, every player in college football, from your Alabama's, Ohio State's down to your whatever the smallest schools are of college football, because there's just movement going every which way. So your smaller schools, which have no chance of being in the playoff, or very, very little chance of being in the playoff, are still impacted by NIL and portal, because they have to fight and scrap to keep those players from going on to bigger schools. They also have to figure out how they're going to get money. I mean, the UCs of the world, kind of mid-levels type school, they have to figure out how to get the NIL money. They got to, it's all about that. I mean, they're partnering with beer in order to, find ways to make money and stuff. So NIL and portal is, smallest school of Division I to your biggest school. On a daily basis, they have to basically re-recruit their players every single day. Alabama loses their share of players. Ohio State does as well.
Both make really good points, but I think it's the playoffs moving forward, just because nobody cares that Miami of Ohio loses their best players. I mean, just Miami of Ohio.
They do.
That's what I said, just Miami of Ohio. But nobody in the rest of the college football landscape cares. I think the playoffs moving forward, it's all about the money, and that's where it's going. So Sam wins that one. So two more. So number 7, better Super Bowl losers, the Minnesota Vikings or the Buffalo Bills. Crawley, you got Minnesota just because you're a little older.
Old.
Yeah. And Sam, you got Buffalo. So let's see here. Charlie, I think you go first.
Yep.
With Minnesota, and go.
So first off, we have to start with the nickname. I mean, maybe the best nickname in all of sports, the Purple People Eaters. Everybody loves the Purple People Eaters. Everybody identifies with Fran Tarkenton, much more than Jim Kelly. Fran Tarkenton's small, for an NFL quarterback, was a small guy, ran around a lot, threw the ball all over the field. It's kind of like the Steph Curry of NFL, in terms of people identify with Steph Curry because he's smaller and shoots threes, and everybody can do that. Same thing with Fran Tarkenton, not the 6'3" stud quarterback Jim Kelly was. You have closest game that the Vikings or that they had in the Super Bowl was 10 points. So they weren't even close. I mean, everybody identifies with that. Like, oh my God, we can't even get close to this. We get into this thing and we can't even get within 10 points of the team. So they were the true losers with that. Buffalo had games where they lost in the last second. That's not a real loser.
All right, Sam, your turn. Buffalo, the better loser.
Yeah. I mean, the question is better loser. So by your most recent statement, they are the better of the losers. They also, they went to 4 straight, which just in of itself is an extremely impressive feat, to get back 4 straight. And then to lose 4 straight is probably more heartbreaking than what Minnesota did. I know Minnesota sports fans may argue otherwise, but neither team has a Super Bowl. Buffalo had 4 straight chances to do it. I think that's from a fan perspective, that's more heartbreaking than anything that the Vikings did. You mentioned it. Jim Kelly's probably more known than Fran Tarkenton. think more people. I think more people know who he is and not resonate him, but can recognize the name and put him with. Oh yeah, that's 4 straight Super Bowl lost quarterback right there. Whereas I didn't know Tarkenton ever lost a Super Bowl. So.
I think the only reason people would know Jim Kelly more than Fran Tarkenton is because the older people are probably they forget, But Fran Tarkenton was on. That's incredible, stuff like that. But 4 in a row, losing 4. The odds of losing 4 in a row, and by a missed field goal, right? I mean, come on now. Got to go with Buffalo on this one. All right, the
Purple
last
people eaters. Come on,
purple
What's
people
Buffalo's
eaters.
nickname?
Yes, yeah. The Bills, Bill Mafia.
Right. Yeah, OJ's former team. I mean,
They
come on.
They don't need a nickname.
We love nicknames.
Yes,
That's how I remember teams.
Yeah, purple. But do you know any of the purple people eaters?
Yeah, Carl Ellers.
Carl Ellers. Jim Marshall. Wrong way, Jim Marshall, right?
There you go.
Alan Page. Yeah. All right. Last one here. This is a you pick one here. So I want to see. I did not come up with the question. Well, I sort of did, but yeah, I did. But they have to come up with the thing. You pick best NFL dynasty. So best NFL dynasty. Sam, you've got the honors of going first. Go.
Yeah, so mine is the New England Patriots, basically the Tom Brady era. It all centers around Tom Brady. They were irrelevant really before he got there, and I think they're going to be irrelevant since he left. 6 Super Bowls in that time frame. I think the only year they didn't make the conference championship was the year they missed the playoffs because Tom Brady was injured. They won 15, 16 divisions. I mean, they were always winning the division, always in play for the Super Bowl. They went to 8 Super Bowls, won 6, so 6-2. And then also just the period of time that they were the dominant team. Most dynasties are only 5-6 years if you got a good one. They stretched 20 seasons of just pure domination in the AFC and the AFC East. I don't think you can really argue anybody else just because of that. Greatest player of all time, maybe the greatest coach of all time too.
All right, Crawley, your turn. Go.
Okay, as tough as this is for me to say, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers are by far the greatest dynasty. Dynasty is, Sam literally used these words, are over time. And the dynasty of the Steelers is much longer than it is of the Patriots. Patriots, with one quarterback, they did all their winning. The Steelers did it with multiple quarterbacks and way more number of decades than the Patriots have done. The other big thing is the Patriots have lost the most Super Bowls as well. They are tied for the most losses. Steelers are nowhere near that. Okay, so dynasties have to be about winning. It's not about also losing. The Spurs are a dynasty because they didn't lose. The Bulls are a dynasty because they did not lose. So same thing with the Steelers. They lost way fewer Super Bowls than the Patriots did. Memorable players over 30, 40 years. People know the Steelers. They're still good. They still win. They have a current head coach who hasn't had a losing record. And
yeah, all that winning, and they still have less Super Bowls than the Patriots.
No, they're tied.
They have 6? I thought they only had 5. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to have to side with Crawley, even though, gosh, I was hoping you'd pick 49ers, but, dynasty, like you said, over extended period of time, 3 different head coaches, multiple quarterbacks.
Sure.
And so, I'm going to go with.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I wish I could say it about the Bengals,
Yes.
but we can't.
Yes, we can't. That's right.
So,
So yeah. All right, there we have it. Our football debate. So probably will not be coming to you next week because I'm going to be out of town, remote area of North Carolina, where probably will not have a whole
the
lot.
following week, we're going to be driving home on Sunday too.
On Sunday, yeah. So we probably be 2 weeks off, which will give us some time to figure out the round of 32 and how that's going to look. So just bear with us on that. Plus, if we have any breaking news, we might pop in on an emergency podcast. If the Reds
trade deadline, if
Yep.
anything actually does happen,
right? We might pop in
Yep.
on that.
Emergency farmer trade podcast.
Yeah, something like that.
for a bucket of balls.
If David Bell gets fired, after the trade deadline, then we'll definitely hop on here, or promoted. I should say not fired, but promoted.
Right,
promoted.
right,
So
extensions.
Yes,
that's a good one. That's a good debate. Is David Bell more likely to get fired or extended?
So
you also have the who, if we could argue, does David Bell or Jamar Chase deserve an extension more? And we already we got the answer. Obviously, David Bell does because he got one, and Jamar Chase isn't getting one. So
I think Bell's got two in his time here, hasn't he?
That tells you right there how messed up it is.
Yeah. Yes. It is. So on that note, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Look for us in 2 weeks. But if you've liked or hit that subscribe button, if there's any emergency podcast, you'll definitely get notified as long as you have that notifications turned on with the Cincinnati Sports Scene. So for Charlie and Sam, I am Dave. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful 2 weeks, and we'll see you back in 2 weeks. Take care.
See you.
See you, everyone.